issues in Nigeria today is the governorship and state assembly elections that are now scheduled to hold on Saturday, 18th of March. There's no doubt that the result of the presidential and national assembly elections held on February 25th has toned up the texture of the gubernatorial elections. Against all expectations, a new major tribe, different from the ones we know, have risen to stage the apple cart in our political paradigm. And this new tribe defies language, defies culture, defies boundaries, defies frontiers, and now command respect. A new political culture has emerged in Nigeria, and this is the demographic tribe of young people, the youths, and the new awareness that the electorate now matter. We can see people, contestants, looking for where voters are to reach them. Before, they just sit down and wait. Before now, we talk about the Yoruba tribe as a big tribe. We talk about Hausa tribe as the big tribe, Igbo tribe as the big tribe. But now we now have the new tribe, the young people tribe, the tribe of the young people. So, before we go into details, what does this new tribe portend for Nigeria's political discourse?
Once again, good evening, Lagos. This is certainly going to be the last edition of the program before the gubernatorial and the state houses of assembly election nationwide. 28 states would either be returning their governors or be having new governors in the next couple of hours, maybe 48 hours or thereabout. And then, of course, by projections, by calculations and permutations, there are going to be a lot of swing states to look out for. Now, talking about the young people's tribe, or the tribe of the young people, as they choose to call them, event of the last 4 years in Nigeria's political space had shown that with the numbers, the young people have woken up to the powers that they have. In terms of the voting population, even though the presidential and the National Assembly elections on the 25th of February recorded the lowest turnout in the history of Nigeria's election. We had less than 20% of the potential voters coming out to cast their votes. That's roughly about 25 million out of the over 91 million that picked up their PVC that were eligible to vote. But even at that, if you look at the breakdown of the demographics, then you see that about 51.8% of the people that picked up their PVCs are young people within the ages of 18 and 35. Even all of those breakdowns. So for me, I think it's really important at this point for us to explain that somehow the young people have understood the strength that they have, especially with the numbers. If you look at even the way people came out, not just people that are carrying placards. I'm talking about people that decided to, seek for political offices. On the ballot this Saturday, I would have a 26-year-old lady from Kwara State that's contesting for House of Assembly in Kwara State. I would have the son of the late distinguished Senator Buruji Kashamu from Ogun State is also going to be on the ballot. I think he's the youngest overall. We have a lot of young people getting into the mix now. We have a certain under 30 Olumide Oworo that was with us here, I think last week Wednesday, contesting for Surulere Constituency 1 in the Lagos State House of Assembly for Labour Party. So we have young people that have chosen to take up responsibilities by themselves. We have young people that have decided that we just don't want to sit at the table anymore. We want to be part of the people that will form this key decision. Then let's narrow it down to 2020. The event of the NSAS movement. I would always tell people the vote on the 25th of February was a statement vote. Now, if you followed what happened after the NSAS movement, the destruction of lives, the reported killings, whether they were killings or not is a conversation for another day, but all of the instances that happened, I think the young people just felt, we understand that there can't be blood revolution in this country anymore. There can't be civil war in this country anymore. The only revolution we can have is the revolution of the PVC. And that was the statement they made on the 25th of February. In fact, the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his acceptance speech, made a statement and he said, and to the youths, I heard you clearly. I heard you clean and
loud
clear.
And clear.
Loud and clear. What that means is that if you combine the votes that went to Atiku Abubakar, Combine that with the one that went to Peter Obi and Rabi Musa Kwankwa, so that's about over 14 million people did not vote for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And out of those 14 million, a large percentage of those people are young people that feel we want to change the status quo. We want something new to come up on the system. We want bright ideas. We don't want old men in coats now and to be dictating our future. There were times in this country where we had a 73-year-old man become the youth leader, national youth leader of a political party. But now look at the youth leader of the main opposition party, the PDP. He's less than in this election. I think the candidate of a court party also, Professor Christopher, is under 50. A lot of young people were on this ballot, not just to count out, but to make sure that we want to get up on the mix. And I mean, look at all of the composition of these people. So for me, the tribe of the young people is like a tsunami, is a wave now. And I think what we saw on the 25th is just a tip of the iceberg. I think as time goes on, even beyond this Saturday's election, there will be a lot of elections. Even there's going to be election in Kogi State this year, November this year. There are going to be more elections before the next general election. And you would see the way the young people will not just support candidates, but they will put themselves forward to hold political offices so that they won't just be at the periphery of things. They will be at the center where key decisions, key political decisions, key policies that would affect their future will be made. So I think for me, it's a beautiful period in Nigeria's political history. It's a season where the young people feel we have the numbers, we have the strength, we have the support system, we have everything we can use to function properly and deliver good governance to the people of Nigeria.
Okay. Now, look at it. We are looking at a shift in paradigm. The dictates before, as you referred to earlier, is people don't feel that this youth, what are they up to? They limit their what they call sense of governance as per age. They don't have anything to offer. But maybe what we try to do is to look at history back to the 2020, is it 2020 now or whatever,
yes,
the NSAS period, up to this time. Then the youth suddenly woke up and became the dominant tribe. Okay, you are welcome to the program.
Yeah.
What we're looking at before you came in is...
I was listening to you.
Okay,
on
the rise of the dominant tribe now.
The new
different from the new tribe. Different from Igbo, different from Yoruba, different from Hausa. And this new tribe has become so respected, so feared, so dominant that between February 25 and now, campaign modalities have changed in different areas. Campaign approaches have changed in different areas. Those who thought they would just be, they would just win election by aligning to one political godfather, soon discover that there are other godfathers now that should be feared. That is the youth. The question was, what does this portend for our elections hereafter, political development hereafter?
Well, I think I want to say that Nigerians are very fortunate that what we are experiencing now, I think we can experience it so early, because some of us never thought that. I think the new culture, I think of electioneering, of voting, the new culture where the votes will count, and we are going to have a people's power, at least will come so soon in Nigeria. And when we are talking of youth participation in politics, whether we like it or not, if we have to go back to history, those who fought for Nigerian independence, what were their ages there?
Exactly.
When Gowon became the head of state of Nigeria,
was 32.
What's his age? I think when Tafawa Balewa became the prime minister, what was his age then? Bafemi Awolowo and Co, what were the ages when they started this revolution? Do you understand? So what I'm saying that you're supposed to be agent of change. And anywhere, because youth always be in a hurry. And any educated or sensible youth will never be satisfied with status quo ante.
For over a long time.
Forever a long time. That has been the history of a revolution. Even those who planned the first coup in Nigeria, what were their ages?
Their children.
Because they were not happy with the system. And then now, but unfortunately, we discovered that when we started this democracy in 1999, our youths were a bit complacent. And there are many reasons for that. that we didn't see some of them really coming out at least to play that role. Because I did remember in 1983 or thereabout, you see Nance making a statement. I think that's why you have bulk of youth talking there. So you have very youth organization making statements. You will see vibrant young fellows at least contesting, playing one role or the other. But 1999 politics, maybe because of the hangover of a military, where many people would not believe in the democratic experiments. I think we had that time. So I think the youth just, tried, just went back and sat without playing any role again. But if you now see, nobody reckoned with that class again since 1999. But with what happened with the NSAS, which we all experienced, and the way the government handled the matter, which they were not happy with, shortly after the NSAS, again, how will you explain universities in Nigeria at least to close for 8 months?
8 months.
No, for any society, I think there are plans for future. There are cares for the youth. If you have to know what many youths have had to do to survive those periods, you'll be marveled. You'll be surprised. Even some, idle ants, what they've had to engage because, out of classroom, nothing to do. So, but this is a generation that are very angry with the system. And for Peter Obi to click key into it, he was not part of that revolution.
He was not.
He was not part of NSAS.
No.
Then if he played no role, if he was in Nigeria there, but immediately he saw that PDP, the way they were going to go with this the primary, right, it might be the highest bidder, right. So there's no way we could have contested in that environment. So immediately he saw that clearly, and there was nothing suggesting with the calculation.
Don't suggest fairness.
No, fairness. So he bolted out of the party. Do you understand? At least and quickly aligned to that particular group. So he became the champion. Do you understand? But by and large, Nigeria have seen people's power for the first time. The kind of campaign we are experiencing in Lagos, I never thought we've seen that since 2017, 2007 or thereabout. The kind of campaign we are experiencing.
This is 1999.
In 1990 was a bit tough because we know where we was going to go, right? But we were detecting event that time in this part of the country. But the kind of campaign we saw them running helter-skelter, even if, I'm not suggesting that, even if APC at least won the election, right, they will never experience, they will never forget what they are experiencing at the moment, which is good for Nigeria because for the first time we are approaching Lagos in Lagos that you cannot say that this is going to be a winner.
Next Saturday.
The previous election, it's like no contest. Previous election in Lagos State, but because of the youths that have come out to make statements, because of a new party, a kind of a revolution that have come to Nigeria, to their political space. Do you understand? So everybody is for the structure again, the Electoral Act of 2022. Do you understand? That allow for beavers. So many things were eliminated. So and that has changed things.
Okay.
That we may not know what Nigerians are gaining now, but in previous election we will know that from whoever will emerge as candidate of the party from the primary, they will show a person that can command the respect of the people.
Yes.
Not youth and the people.
Yes. Okay. Muyiwa has just thrown more light into what we were saying earlier, that the youth, the young people club, the young people tribe, have suddenly woken up, and they are the driver's seat of the nation's political direction now. Now we look at it this way. Just as Muyiwa said, the toughest point is Lagos, where it was well noticed. And again, of course, all serious events that happen in Lagos are the toughest points. Even the NSAS you mentioned, it was toughest in Lagos and the rest of them. And we have seen what is happening, not what has happened from 25th to the campaign method and the rest of them. Quite a good number of states like that the youths are likely to say, here we are. Lagos, maybe Ibadan, of course Delta, Edo, Plateau, where again now? In one or two other places like that. How do we ensure that the momentum of the youth is sustained? Because it will not be good for us to say, oh, we're enjoying this new dimension for it to happen only at these elections, but continuously we want to see a new paradigm, a shift.
Okay, let's start from here. I understand the fact that we are really excited about the wave now. We understand the fact that a lot of young people are ready to get into the mix. Some have already gotten into the mix. Like I said earlier on, there will be a lot of young people, that would contest for political offices. Some would not win, some would win. I know for one of my friend in Kwara State, she's contesting for the House of Assembly seat in Kwara State of the APC. She's the youngest APC candidate in any of these political offices. She's a lady. And of course, there are a lot of people scattered around. Now, I'm talking about momentum. I said it that what we saw in 2023 was already building as far back as 2020, the NSAS protest. It got to a point where I think Nigerians began to understand that now we can speak and shake the government. Now we can speak and unrattle the government. Now we can speak and get the attention of the government. I mean, we saw how the governor of Lagos State was running helter-skelter during the NSAS. He was at the venue of the protest trying to be a young person, trying to relate. He was dancing at the parade ground. He was doing all of those things. We saw it in a lot of other states too. I was in Jos at that time, and I was privileged to lead the movement from the front, from the first day to the last day. You saw the involvement of a lot of young people, even politicians that probably didn't want to come out openly to say, okay, we support what you are doing, we align what you're doing. They were sending their cronies to say, yeah, we support you people, we give you security, we give all of this thing, we give you water, we give all of this support, the logistics that you need. So it's a movement that was birthed in 2020. And God bless the minds of the Nigerian youth that have stood their ground. Without every form of intimidation coming into this election. Power is not given. It's not something that will be offered you on a platter of gold. So you fight for it. You work for it. You snatch it if you can on a level playing ground. When I mean snatch, I'm not saying kill to get it. But I mean, politics is about numbers. You permutate, you calculate, you bring offers to the table, you negotiate, you do all of those things. But I think the phase of politics in this country is going to take a really different dimension. Away from the departure from the status quo. Oh, it is this person that will pick what this person gets. If you go back and check the numbers in some states in this country, a lot of bookies were proven wrong in some states. The projections that some people had as per the result in some states, even the presidential campaign committee chairman of the APC lost his own state and he lost his own senatorial election. Malam Nasir El-Rufai lost Kaduna State to the PDP. Ganduje lost Kano to the NNPP. Even Tambuwa, he won Kano presidency with less than 3,000 votes for PDP and the APC. Autumn lost Benue.
You're talking of Tambuwa. With how many votes did he win the governorship?
Even the governorship of his election, less than 600. So 6,000 rather. So I mean, the bookies were proven absolutely wrong, and now we're back to Lagos on a normal day. I'm sure Governor Sanwo-Olu probably would have been with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu after the primaries if things had gone on the way it used to be in Lagos. Oh, Babawati Sheshe team, we've done your own at the federal level. Oh, yeah. Our own in Lagos is just a backpack. But look at what's happening now. What reached me this afternoon that the new senator-elect for Ogun East, former senator, or the current senator representing Lagos West, Senator Olamide Konya, is in Lagos to canvass. Rauf Aregbesola, former commissioner for works, former governor of Osun State, that was in Lesser Arch when his principal was contesting, is in Lagos now to canvass. Everybody is coming back home to put their house in order because they've seen the power of the young people. Labour Party won in Lagos. They won Ikeja. They won Amuwo-Odofin. They won Alimosho. They won Ibejuleki. I mean, they won traditional zones of the APC. The status quo changed. They had almost 60,000 votes in Amuwo. They won Oshodi Solo. They won Ojo. They won all of these places. So the people are beginning to say, you know what, we are the young people. And don't get it wrong. Not like the old people didn't vote in this election. A lot of the old people voted.
Yes.
But you look at the movement, the energy at which the young people are moving. Even you as an old person, you will not want to come out and say, this is where I want to stand. Not because you feel intimidated, but you look at the energy that these young people are bringing on board. If the answers had not happened, I'm not sure we would have had, we should have had indication of how this election was going to go from the participation in the continuous voters registration.
Okay, look at it this way. Earlier you made mention of since the youths have appeared to have been complacent.
Yes.
They have not been eager to take part in politics. But again, something, you have to instigate something.
Yes.
At what time would you think, maybe NSAS, maybe before NSAS or maybe after NSAS, that the youth now feel that these old people should go, they should leave us? If you are aware of the Soviet Revolution of 1917, whatever.
Yes.
A young man called Vladimir Lenin.
Yes.
Riding on his father's car.
On his father's fame.
Even his father's vehicle.
His father was an oligarch, one of the richest men in Russia.
Mobilizing the youths against his father's class. So say, look, man, Dad, your era has gone. Are we at that point now to say the era of the old people have gone?
Well, I think whether we like it or not, what we have seen is, I think, is a clear departure from the existing culture that we know. So they've told us, and they've told the elderly ones, and that's why they are running scared. I want to just let's have this election first. Let's have this way. Let's have this time, because whether we like it or not, I think the statement has been made, as we clearly said. But let me tell you something. Before the answers, if you are to look at from Buhari, at least I can say the performance of Buhari, I think kick-started the revolution against the situation we are talking about. Because I think there were a lot of hopes from Buhari administration.
Promises.
Obasanjo was there, and Jonathan came, and people saw PDP as now that, instead of performing, I think they've come something else entirely that nobody wanted to touch. And when Buhari came with a lot of promises of job creation, of increasing power supply, and when they will have a steady power supply,
economy will
improve. Nigerians believed him. Nigerians thought he has integrity. Nigerians thought this is not a corrupt man. Nigerians thought this man, I think with what they can see is mere. You understand? Give them the impression somebody, at least his words, is going to be will take it. And that was the time Nigerians were promised that at least 6 months, but at least the power problem will be solved. So there were a lot of expectations. So the youths expected to the extent that somebody trekked from Lagos to Abuja celebrating Alan the man is now maybe having serious problems with sex now.
He's bedridden now.
To tell you,
try for 18 days.
No, so tell you how people were so they kind of put their hope on this single man. But what did they get? We are here. So 8 years of Buhari is almost a disaster. So normally, the youth that expected to have jobs, that the factory will flourish, that this will happen now, they were still at home, either roaming the streets or just trying to find things extremely too difficult.
You were just surviving.
Too difficult. So they were. So the section of Nigerians were hungry. Many Nigerians, not only in section, a lot of Nigerians were hungry. You understand? So that's why when this NSAS matter came, Nigeria didn't know. That's why they were doing their thing on the Twitter, on the Facebook. No, it wasn't like the only days that Nance will go to Junction Yaba and be telling you that I'll be staging all this. No, they just came out one day. People that were not on social media But what was happening? NSAS and forward, before you know it,
He
the
became-
Yaba everywhere, they're taking over the whole country. How did it happen? Do you understand? But to tell you that things have changed and was coordinated, almost, let's say, to almost, if not because of Northwest and the Northwest and
There were
and
anti-NSAS protests in some northwestern
yes,
states.
yes.
because they didn't suffer
They
what
didn't suffer what
people
people
suffered.
down south they
They
were
suffered.
suffering.
Do you understand? And you know, so but immediately things changed. But I'm saying that the NSAS was just a catalyst, right? There had been a growing anger. Do you understand? And immediately after that, as I said initially, do you understand? The way government handled it, it was not properly handled.
It's a disaster too.
It was a disaster. Secondly, then university again now went
They were closed.
were closed
8 months.
for 8 months. So what we are saying is that
That's a session
the Nigerian people have been taken for a ride
for 2.
by the outgoing government of Buhari. So the youth particularly suffered. Some elders have something to do to make living. But every day the future continues to be getting bleak for the youth. So when they see the opportunity to protest, to vent out their anger,
out.
so they came out.
Yes, it
and
was
seized
like
the
that.
opportunity.
NSAS enabled the youth to discover their strength, to discover their unity.
Yes, you know when that protest, what people are telling them is that in democratic system, use this your numerical strength
As a bargaining power.
as a
Exactly,
bargaining power.
yes.
Do you understand? Use it to go and pick up PVC. Do you understand? And be in control of government, and that's what matters. No matter the group you belong to, once you cannot use it, that numerical strength
It's
to gain
useless.
power. At DB they were able to use to gain power. They were able to control the government. Say, whatever you are doing, we brought you here. This is the generation that brought you, and they can say this is what you must do.
Okay, okay. That brings us to the question of Labour Party's elements. I may not understand why Labour Party. I can understand why Obi. That's Muyiwa had just said so, that he took advantage of these things. Now the question will be, why is there any ideological resemblance between the youth group and Labour, or between the youth group and Obi? Why are they flocking around Obi? I'm coming. Because along the line, out of the 18 presidential candidates, there are candidates who are more youthful than Obi.
Of course.
Do you understand it now? So if it is just like one of us, Obi may not have come up as one of us. For youths like us, Obi may not have come up like that. We have Shawori was there.
Professor Christopher
was there. Then the former security
chief security officer to
Abacha. What's his name now?
Mustafa.
Mustafa was there. These are more youthful people. But what endeared the youths to Obi, or Obi to the youths, then to the Labour Party? And can we see a repeat of this in the next general election? I'm not talking of this Saturday. We are here to talk about Saturday. That is, if you harmonize and coordinate this activity of the youth, you may have a very strong party.
This is a big question. I'm so excited. I'm the one that will probably just attempt to answer it. Now, in 2019, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party had less than 6,000 votes nationwide as the presidential result nationwide.
Yes.
I think they came about 54th of all the 72 parties on the ballot. That was crazy. Less than 6,000 votes. Now, less than 4 years after, the same party returned over 6 million votes with over 6 senators and over 25 House of Representative members. And in this coming House of Assembly election, there are going to be a lot of seats that will be won by Labour Party, whether in Lagos or in Oyo or in Anambra State or in Enugu State. There's going to be that tsunami that will move on, because the party, funny enough, has sustained the momentum crazily. I was telling someone this afternoon, I said, if you follow Showore, if you look at the WhatsApp status, it didn't even look like someone that contested in last election. He has moved on. He has moved on. Every other person has moved on. The SDP, they've considered defeat, they've congratulated, but the Labour Party had consistently be at the front burner that we're going to challenge the legality of these results. We're going to challenge the process of the emergence of the president-elect. We're going to put INEC to test. So they've been able to sustain that momentum, knowing fully well that there's still another election. I heard Gbadebo Road Vival join us in this studio for 90 minutes. The Gbadebo Road Vival that we interviewed in this studio 4 months ago will not be the same one we would have interviewed if he was sitting here today. His deputy was here about 4 months ago. That's Princess Islamia. She was here on International Women's Day. That's last week Wednesday. The energy she used 4 months ago was not the same energy she brought back last week Wednesday. So there's a momentum somewhere. I mean, Gbadebo is now going to the Palace of Oba of Lagos. His father was with him today at the Palace of Oba of Lagos. He's going to the deep ends of Lagos. He's donating to fire victims in their Akere market, 15 million. He's getting himself into them because of the wave of Peter Obi. The political space in Nigeria does not allow independent candidacy. That is where Labour Party comes in. When Peter Obi left the PDP, prior to the primaries of the PDP, there were a lot of offers on the table. SDP, they felt it was going to be maybe Tinubu that will pick SDP if the APC does not. So there were those permutations. But on the 8th of June, he announced that he's going to be on the ballot for Labour Party. Professor Past Utomi stepped down for him, and he was endorsed and ratified by the Congress of Labour Party. And that was where the conversation changed. Less than 10 months ago. That was the movement. Labour Party was just a wheel that Peter Obi rode on. Peter Obi is over 60 years old, so he's not particularly young, if you can't say so. But I mean, Mr. Muyiwa talked about the fact that he capitalized. He saw the opportunity in the answers, and he quickly aligned with them. I'm part of you. Even though on the protest that I was not with you, but I see your pain. I can relate with the conversations that you want to have. I'm tech driven. You would see Peter Obi at the airport dragging it. I mean, a lot of factors played in. The simplicity he plays to the gallery with, I don't know how far he went with that. There were times I watched an interview he had with a friend, and he was in his house. He was making tea by himself. He said he does not have all of the shoes, that there's no point. But I mean, well, we saw that played out in 2011. They have no shoe conversation. But I mean, the young people could relate with what Peter Obi was bringing to the table, and the fact that they saw him as a lesser devil. I mean, he was a former governor in this state. There were records that he didn't conduct local government election for over 7 years in this state, which is absolutely against the constitution of this country. So it was Peter Obi that had that momentum. Not necessarily because it was Labour Party, no disrespect to Labour Party, but now Labour Party moved from 0 to 100. Labour Party almost became the main opposition party in this country. Labour Party gradually became the voice a lot of people want to talk about. Labour Party won Plateau State. Labour Party won some key states in this country. They won Lagos State. Not what the PDP could not do from 1999. Labour Party did it in this Lagos. Okay. So you're asking yourself again, would they be able to sustain this momentum?
Exactly.
That is why I think they should. Because we were having this conversation before we came on air. There's going to be a governorship election in the Southeast, which is going to be key. What the ACN had before the merger in 2015 was the power of the state they have. If the Labour Party can build that state from that region, and they have numbers, now they have senators, they have National Assembly members, they would definitely get, in short, I was saying it that Charles Chukwuma Soludo of Anambra State may be an APGA governor presiding over a Labour Party House of Assembly by the time they're done with this election. So if they're able to continue to build that momentum, there will still be mid-season election before 2027 general election. If they're able to gather up the numbers when they come to the table to negotiate, they will have facts and standards to bring to the table to negotiate with.
Yeah, two things about that, Muyiwa, is that Obi and the Labour Party people, they have brought some finance into Nigerian politics. Number one, take a look at Lagos. Lagos is not going to be business as usual.
Sure.
Between governor and the house.
Yes.
You're not likely to have 100% APC.
No years this time.
Even if assuming that Sowolu returns, that he returns, he is not going to have 100% house. And that will actually put some sense of governance in him. He now reports to the people, not report to somebody else, not party or whatever. Then there'll be good governance in Lagos, and not in Lagos, and where all these things have happened. So Muyiwa, the question I want us to look at, I'm sure that some governorship candidates are thanking God for this extension, because if this election was held as scheduled,
the same day,
the same day or even as scheduled, the story would have been quite different. Because this last minute rally, you talk about Aregwa Shola coming from Hajj to come and campaign, this person coming from here to come and campaign, it wouldn't have happened. You understand it now? Now the question is, do you think the momentum will still continue next Saturday?
Let me quickly say something. In this studio, I said that the worst strategy that can happen in the 2023 election will not be that Obi may not win the election, but to quit after the election. Right. So the point we are making is that we know the revolution, but for him to sustain it, forget whatever opponent got, whether he got it through wins or not, right? But let the momentum continue. If he could do that, he's going to do himself and Nigeria a lot of good deal. Yeah, because I think the people in government will be on their toes. There will be fear, so they won't take Nigerians for granted anymore. If the man has been able to achieve that, and he has contributed something to at least the Nigerian democracy, which we've not had since 1999. The wave going on now has never happened since 1999. Having said that, I want our listeners to underline this. No two elections are the same.
No, can't be.
You understand? And because the factors will change, the names of the ballots will change, and the environment will change.
Also change.
You understand? So, and we said it last week here that if I were one of the people in the strategy room of any of these parties, we will walk as if nothing has happened, right? And face
as if we are just starting the campaign.
Yes.
So, and just continue to go to our grassroots, go and go meet people that we know that with Beavers working, that no man, no accreditation, right? So let's go and meet people where they are. So on this Saturday, we are likely to see a different ballgame. I'm telling you this. On this Saturday, not only Lagos State, I'm talking Nigeria now. We are likely to see a different environment. Because let me tell you something, governorship election has never been the same as presidential.
No.
If you take your time to go and see the numbers, right, you see a sharp increase in governorship election than presidential in all the states. But we always concentrated on the one that combines
the center stage
of all of us. But if you go and look at the governorship election, people troop out in the different states for governorship election
more than for the presidency. And that's obviously because of the state House of Assembly
involvement. And again, they see they can
relate
as
our own.
They relate the governor. Yes. So that's why I'm saying that the turn up in Lagos was slow. The other time, 27%.
Just
right?
1.3 million voters came out accredited, and
close to
a little over 1.2 million were valid votes.
All I'm saying is 27%.
Very slow, very low.
If we had 27% as last Saturday's election, we are likely to have over 35%. We can put it.
It will go up now.
Yes,
it will go up now. It will go up now. It will go up now. And that variation, and it will be difficult for anybody to suggest. Do you understand where it will go? But Labour Party should not think. I think they are home and dry. So a lot of people that did not, they thought it was in the APC affair the other time. And a lot of things have changed. A lot of permutation, a lot of indices, a lot of issues that may be primordial or not primordial that have been setting. A lot of things are going on that at least may not make the Saturday election
to be the same to last election. Okay,
thank you very much. Let them work out.
Yes, thank you very much. My audience, thank you very much for staying with us this far. You can follow us on any of the social media channels that we have, because right now we are streaming live on Facebook, Mainland FM 98.3. You can join us there and see us live. Then on Instagram, we are Mainland FM 98.3. On Twitter, Mainland FM. Then on YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. Thank you for being there with us. Now we continue. Okay, here we are. I'm sure that between now and Saturday, there are some governors that will be taking. Why are you laughing at?
I know where this one is going to.
I'll be taking some BP medicine twice a day instead of once. Because just as Muyiwa said, there's likely to be increase in participation.
Absolutely.
But that increase, you cannot say whether it's going to
favor
you or not favor you. So the question is, from what we have just said, the surge in the awareness of a new class of people in elections, and that they are suddenly taking up position of directing which goes. Some people are going to be sleepless. Even as we are talking about, reminding some people of the risk of the danger ahead of them. So let's look at it from home here in Lagos. Let me be very careful about this. Is Sanwo-Olu home and dry?
If anyone close to Governor Sanwo-Olu heard the question you just asked now, they will shout in their own heart of hearts. They will shout. The no will be as loud as anything you want to imagine. Because in the last 2 weeks, from after the presidential election, we've had about 5 or 6 APC strategists come into the studio here to have conversation as regards why the governor should be allowed to continue in office. And one of the things they've all agreed is that the result of the presidential election was shocking, was unexpected, was not anticipated, was not prepared for, and where Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president-elect, all of these fundamental questions, the face of everybody, APC billboards everywhere, the governor is engaging on the just because he wants to reach out to the people. The wake-up call of the presidential election in Lagos would go down in memory lane as the biggest in the political history of this country, that the president-elect, the man that literally picks who becomes what in Lagos, lost in Lagos, his own home state, despite all of the structures that they have. So it's going to be very difficult for anyone to think Sanwo-Olu was home and the PDP, because the PDP have been around for a while. They've had, but immediately after the presidential election, Gbadebo Rosevival became the pride of everybody. There was a coin that was flipped that they wanted to use against him, which is the tribal coin. At the end of the day, it seems the tribal coin worked in his favor right now. Yes. A lot of people are now beginning to say, this man contested in 2019 for Lagos West Senatorial District, and he had massive numbers, although Senator Lamilekon Yayi defeated him. But then he's been around for a while. Nobody questions maybe APC or the Labour, or a lot of people are even beginning that he's not home. Not talking about being dry. The money when campaign will start.
Okay, Muyiwa. let's and
Oyo.
Anything special about Ogun? No.
Ogun
and Oyo.
Let me tell you, in Ogun State, I was somewhere where we were analyzing Ogun State yesterday, and the governor Okoduwa himself knew that I think if anybody should start congratulating him now that they are receiving it. It's true that people voted for, I think, APC presidential election because of the factors there, right? But in Ogun State, it's going to be a final battle between Amosu and
the Godfathers.
Amosu and Abiodun, right? Amosu, the ex-governor, is supporting Odebiyi of SDP. Remember, Amosu had wanted Yewa people that never produced governors since 1976 to have their own turn now. Odebiyi is a sitting senator. Fact checking. Amosu see control. Because remember, when Kuta they still owe him a lot. And whatever Abiodun might have done in the last 4 years was like a tip in the iceberg. We can't compare to what Abeokuta to some extent. And then we have 4 legs. We are talking of 4 legs in Ogun State. We are talking of Egba division. We are talking of Yewa. We are talking
votes
Ogun, the same senatorial district. Even they are almost the same town, if not the same town. Right? His father is quite
very famous,
strongly behind him. So the Abiodun and Adebutu will fight Abeokuta, Oviayi in Yewa, and one of the rep member, Boyegana Sisiaka, the 3-time Odebiyi Amosu problem in Yewa. So all these permutations were going on. That for
Adeyemi father.
but the governor knows that it's not going to be a battle between APC and SDP.
Okay. Okay. The last man standing among the G5.
He's on his own.
Okay, sorry, Makinde. Yes. You know what? The Makinde one, but is APC? It's not that APC is that strong again. You know, because of the way the primary was conducted and the way the Congress was conducted. All the traditional members, understand, of APC in Oyo State are now in accord. Even some of them contesting in accord. All the Ajimobi boys, all the traditional boys, all those people can call the traditional members. So PDP, the Oyo PDP is populated by PDP people. See, so those who they come within when in the last election.
So the status quo went back to what it was.
It's going back to the whatever they were doing before. So it's going to be between among PDP, APC, and Accord.
Yes.
But whichever will have the day where the margin will so slim.
And it's going to be a little close again.
The margin will so slim.
Yes, the Accord candidate, Adeyemi, is going to probably play the spoiler. Adelabu rather is going to probably play the spoiler. Now, the Ibadan land vote, just like we have Abeokuta, that is where the bulk vote comes from. And they've consistently reiterated their support for Governor Seyi Makinde. Now, if you also look at the fact that the National Assembly members elect, I mean, PDP had a very bad outing at the last election.
And because all of them voted
one way. So now they have senators elected that are of the APC, they have reps members elected that are of the APC, and is most likely going to follow that same. But the issue is this: between Seyi Makinde and Senator Teslim, it's going to be very tough. I think Adelabu will just play the spoiler. He's probably not going to win, but he's going to play the spoiler because for Fulani, he's going to take a lot of vote because most of the sympathy vote that came for Tinubu was the fact that Omowani, let us close ranks for Tinubu. But for this one, the thing has gone back to status quo. There are three legs in Oyo State right now: the PDP, the APC, and the Accord Party, and three of them have candidates that not necessarily would win, but they're all from Ibadan. So the bulk vote that is coming from Ibadan has already been shared into three. So what you pick from outside, what you pick from the other side is what will give you that figure. So Ibadan is going to be very, very close because there are members of the APC in Oyo State that are campaigning for Seyi Makinde. There are members of the PDP that are campaigning for Senator Teslim. That's the crazy part.
Okay, now let's quickly move out of this region because of time. Let's go to Benue and Sokoto because the difference between Autumn and
significant.
Less than 20.
The difference between Aminu Tambuwa and the
other. Because I think at some point Atiku Abubakar will sit back and ask himself that you that is supposed to be the chairman of your presidential campaign committee, sitting governor, deliver the state for you with less than 3,000 margin. It's going to be very close. Reason being that the strongest voting unit in Sokoto now, they have a senator elect, which is on the platform of the APC. But again, that's what I'm going to. That's what I want to say next. INEC they suspended the rec from Sokoto State. Yes. They declared all of the three senatorial districts and all of the House of Representative election inconclusive. Exactly. So nobody knows where the state to go. But the fact that there could be a pool to the point of having elections that are inconclusive means that Tambuwa is not in control of the political structure of Sokoto.
That's what I said before.
If you look at that assembly, they have almost equal
numbers. They have equal numbers.
Someone had to ask the APC to go and give me your speaker. So they are the one that because they had one more number above them. More. So it was the APC that brought the speaker.
So the compromise assembly. Yes. Yeah. So that's the point I was saying because now with the inconclusive election going on there and the rest of them, we are likely to have a very tight race.
It will be very unpredictable.
Then Benue before the news beats.
You know, I think at Benue, some people will take a bet that APC will take almost all the seats. Some people will take the bet because of the governorship candidate there. The Reverend gentleman says that he's a grassroots mobilizer. And that he has earned trust and respect of people in that area. And that's the reason why that the last election, despite the fact that most of them are Christians. One, Autumn supported Labour because of whatever.
it
You
was,
understand? And Autumn could not survive the tsunami of that Christian gentleman, the Reverend Father. So I think some people will tell you that no matter what happens,
we can't remove ourselves from the federal.
But you cannot say anything. But they believe that if that Reverend gentleman is given the opportunity, there will be peace in Benue
State.
So I think it's like a kind of an already consensus.
It's quite unfortunate for Tom, by the
that
way.
they wanted.
In the last during his administration, he had done PDP, he had done APC.
Yes.
When he was in APC, he was using all his years to criticize the PDP. He moved to the PDP, using all his time to criticize. I can't remember one project that Otom had commissioned.
Okay.
We'll still talk about Plateau State when
we are coming. Back. We are not taking phone call yet. We may not even take phone call today. We'll be back after the news, which is on the top of the hour at 5. And the issue is still the wave that followed the February 25th election. Is it still continuing? Stay back. I will be back.
Heaven and earth will pass away. It is written in the book of God. The good people will surely find their ways, and the meek will inherit the world. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't fall.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM.
Headline news on 98.3 Mainland FM.
Good evening. Headline news on Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Sage Babalola. INEC continues distribution of sensitive materials. INEC denies appointing former Lagos Commissioner as ICT head. DSS arrests 2 persons over call for violence in Kano. Peter Obi says 2023 presidential election worst in Nigeria's recent history. Troops kill bandits, recover weapons in Zamfara. Oyo State Governor Makinde declares Friday half-day for Guba assembly polls. On the foreign scene, United Nations says tones gone missing in Libya uranium. President of France, Macron, uses special power to enact pension bill without vote. In sport, Gianni Infantino re-elected as FIFA president until 2027. That is the headline news on Mainland FM. Details at 5:30.
Become more and more crowded. It's time to break it open.
Of Lagos.
Okay, you're welcome back. This is the other side of the newsroom. What's going on, Muyiwa? Reminds the witches were promising Macbeth all.
When shall we?
This time next week, the Holy Body would have been done. About want to force himself.
Yes.
Yeah, want to force himself to bring about the fulfillment of the mind boy, Fubara. Apparently, the other people. So
the soundbites from Amechi and it's going to be the last one because everything. If you see some of which is not good, and it's national. And there's a wiki, and there's a in which and this is not possible, right? And I have to say, well, if it's so for people not only in River State, even in Nigeria, nationally. He has not told them. But no, Amechi and Wiki. The truth is that Wiki has been, and Amechi tried also to play the civil war by trace them so in River State.
Exactly,
and let IREV work.
No matter what you say, no promise.
You got all the soldiers. Yes. I think Nigeria will decide.
And again,
your state.
Again, I be in Rivers.
The
candidate of the social is too refined for river politics. The candidate of the tell Tonyeko to forget it conversation. The factor which everybody is any president, I have been in Rivers right now.
Okay, Ifeanyi Okoduwa is running me to achieve.
Okoduwa for one thing. Okay. Nobody should run presidency in which they all agreed. Them from Niger Delta to Amagege.
Earlier that Tambuwa, but the Plateau government.
Well, I don't know from 1999 till now. In 2015, I was on the Plateau candidate. In short, he came to town to campaign on a Monday to Kaduna to Gombe. That was what gave Lalong that ticket. But till now, he still does not have the grip of the state. In fact, the state capital is just south and is being controlled by a PDP chairman. The key states that they have, the key local government is being controlled. Now, let's break it down. Peter Obi was in Jos yesterday to campaign for Patrick Dakom, the Labour Party candidate. He was supposed to contest on the platform of the APC, but he pulled out in the 11th hour because he was suspecting that Lalong wanted to endorse Lentaway. The immediate past rep was the former chairman of Mongu. Mongu played on the Plateau. They have 3 Jonah Jang, the chairman of the Presidential Campaign Council. The chairman of the project as the presidential election would swing so well in places. But you see the governorship hosted in a stadium. Let me not lie to you. Labour Party plus or minus.
So, thank God we still have some time for our audience to post 0410. Very brief.
Ben.
Yes, I know, Ben. You are welcome.
Thank you so much. Not because of the big popularity or whatever thing you guys are look at it, or because of the youth, whatever. No, the job will be got to do things like this. You are going to see that someone in Lagos longer is sitting there.
What do we never see?
Hello?
Hello, gentlemen. You remember my late friend Peter Okoduwa?
Well, we are fine. No?
Election at the federal level. About answers on any general anywhere. That will be the board, the manifesto.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Yeah, went to school with our nose or with our back head.
Hey, please, just go straight to the point.
What is going to happen in this governorship election will now prove that, number one, the people that gave Obi vote, number one, is the failure of what he contributed to the vote Obi had. It was so massive. It was so massive that even it was a devil that came out who voted that devil. Now, if you come to the issue of the Anambra election, Soludo has put his name in the bad books of people. After his failed to win at least 4 states, 44 houses.
Yeah. Yes.
Youth in politics for our own candidate to vote for. Nigerian youth can only come out and united, not on the same line with the youth of Southeast or South. Particularly also, I cannot because I'm the youth.
No, sorry, excuse me.
Yes.
What we are saying, we're not saying the youths are going to vote for one person or one party, but they are participating in larger numbers. Whether they're in the north, whether they're in the north or Lagos or Ibadan, they are participating in larger numbers than before. We are not saying they're going to vote. We are not. They're going to vote for one person.
Also, what things that happen otherwise in some other places?
I think, as I said, what we are saying that.
For lighting the member.
Thank you.
No response.
Hello.
And a lot of states blocks.
Hello. Last caller. The effect has not.
Someone voting for